I didn't know how anger felt like. I didn't know how I should behave, how I should feel if I wanted to really live through that anger. There are people who are very gifted at, musical instruments. They hear somebody play something on the piano and then they can play it on their guitar. And that's the same way. For us to really feel that anger, we have to have something that we can read, interpret, and then live through ourselves. Really get those emotions going. What's up, guys? This is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's pouring rain outside, so that's why I'm doing it inside. I hope the light is good enough, but the topic is the important thing, so let's get right into it. Today I want to talk to you about your anger and how you can use it to your advantage. A lot of people have been writing me specifically, I don't know where it came from, about my obsession with Eminem, or why I was listening to Eminem a lot while I was going through a bunch of stuff. So I haven't really gotten into this whole Eminem mood for a long time, probably 3 or 4 years ago. But while I was really doing the big steps in my journey, it was really important for me to really feel that anger, and to kind of come out at the other side just a better version of me, stronger, more confident, and just being more aware of what I want. See, I always say below anger, there's sadness, and we really have to get to that sadness to live through that pain, and then we can really move on and really build a life on our terms and really build up this dream life that we always wanted. So in most cases, we do have aggressive tendencies in us that we don't really live out, that we just numb out. And most of us always feel yeah, but we want to help people are good, we always want to see the best in them, but we tend to have aggressive people around us, and to attract these kind of not only people but also to bring out this behavior in other people. So if you get into relationships with angry people who do express anger towards you, or just towards other people, or just things around them, and you're surrounding that, then be aware that there's also an anger part within you. Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening. I'm not saying that you can't just start a new job, and if they're angry people, they're gonna be angry people there, but we tend to just let it be. We tend not to change jobs because of it, or just groups of people we work with, people we're friends with, we're attracted to, whatever it is. If we have people around us who have those angry things coming up all the time, and we stay there, then that's a sign that you have a lot of anger within you that you haven't really worked through. Or you let other people just treat you badly, and then you always find a reason to say, well, those are good people, they just didn't know any better. I love how artistic they are, and they're so sensitive, and that's why they act this way. Every time you have a situation like this, just remind yourself there is a reason why you see that in them. Because you could just be at a point where you say, well, I don't care how artistic they are. I don't care how well spoken they are, how sensitive they are. If they're being aggressive towards me or just around me, then those are not people I'm going to allow in my field. These aren't people who I'm going to allow to have an effect on me, whatever it is. I don't even think about if person A is artistic or sensitive or is a unique person, as long as they're expressing this anger. Because my first impulse now is, go away from that. I don't want to have anger around me. And because I learned that, I also learned to set boundaries like this, and to also tell people, you're not going to talk to me this way. And I sometimes burst out, these things of anger come out in me, telling people to stop, to not really express that emotion around me. And they really do stop. Because it happens in a subliminal kind of way. They feel, when they act this way, they will feel pain. They haven't before, because you're the person who allows them to really express anger openly around you, and you're gonna stay there, and you're still gonna accept them. You're still gonna love them. You're still gonna respect them. You still want to know more about them, and so on, right? So I'm not saying people who have anger inside of them and they bring it out that they're not hurting. They are, but it's still this thing of, especially when you're hurting, you're looking for the easiest way to get that pain away from you. Every one of us does this. This is not a specific thing that only bad people do or anything like this. It's very natural. But if you're staying in that, then it's just mainly a sign you do have anger in you. So how can you actually get to that anger and let it out? How can you really fuel like yourself with that anger in order to once open the floodgates, really express all of it so you can have a healthy relationship with anger? You know, like I really didn't want to feel anger, and one way for me to do that was through music. So I started expressing myself through music. I listened to, as I said, I listened to a lot of Eminem. I used to listen to a lot of like hip hop. I like Lil Kim. Lil Kim was really like important to me because that was something I listened to when I was really young, and so I had a connection to that. But on top of that, you know, I wasn't listening to any specific songs. I was listening to the self-empowerment songs. I was listening to the songs that were full of anger. So, you know, if you have music that speaks to you in this kind of way, you kind of like get into this meditative state. So you put on that song, you get like really sit down, you close your eyes, and then you imagine the person you think about that you're mad at, that has been using you or has been abusing you or has just put like negative energy towards you. You imagine that person and then you let that anger out. Like, I know this is not, you know, a dream scenario. Like, I know that. For me, that was the reason why I never expressed it. Because if we're all logical about this, if we really think about it, it's never good to, like, you know, fight fire with fire. If somebody's being angry, why be angry back? Right? And I mean, like, it's a first step, especially if you do it through music and you don't really express it toward that person. It's just like a first step. Like, the second step would be, of course, to kind of like get it out towards that person. But I still think it's very important, and it was the right step for me because I needed to know it's okay. I needed to know that I'm still gonna accept myself while having these angry parts in us. I really do believe we need to embrace that. It's a very natural reaction, and it's just a reaction of, I don't want this in my space. And the more you allow yourself to let it out, the more it just becomes part of your personality. So I'm not an angry person. Like, my friends would never say I'm angry. I'm just way more assertive than I used to be. And that's how this anger part just like gets into like my day-to-day life without being anything that is hurtful to other people, without it being anything that's disrespectful. I'm just like stating my boundaries, and I'm actually stating them very calmly. Like, it very rarely happens that I really flip out or do something that, you know, is like out of line. And when I do, I kind of catch myself. This happens like, I would say, like once a month, that I just get a little loud towards somebody. And when I mean somebody, mostly it's just like a friend of mine, one of my parents, or yeah, I've done it at work as well, but it was just really when somebody got bullied. Like, it wasn't just a reaction I normally do. So, but in order to get that, we really have to feel that anger. We have to like really let it fuel us. I'm talking about like a healthy dose. But in order to get that, we really have to like let those gates open. And it's not a nice feeling. It's not a nice feeling because that way you have to accept that you're not this angelic person that you thought you are. And I'm not even talking about just women here, also guys. Like, there's always this thing of, well, we want peace, we want harmony, we want us all to be together. Why in the world would I express anger? And it's just necessary. It's just necessary because you're holding it back. It's a part of human experience to express anger and to feel anger. So you can actually really make yourself feel those emotions. And in the beginning, they will come out very strongly. So I remember at that time, like, I was doing it through Facebook. So there was a person I didn't like, or pretty much that person hurt me. And I didn't even know if they were looking at my timeline. Probably not. But back then I was projecting so much. For me, it was like me posting something on my timeline. It was like, and even a song. So most people don't even like look what the name of the song is that you post, because most people are just concerned with themselves. You know, like, most people don't see the song you're posting. And even if they see like the title, it's not like they're gonna listen to it. And they definitely are not gonna listen to it and then interpret something out of it. But that's what I did. You know, that's what I did with that other person. When they published a song, it was like on me to see, oh, what does that mean? How does that person feel? How is their emotional state? And so for me, putting that song out on Facebook, for example, and it was just a sign of, this is who I am. Also, it was a way of me telling that person, listen, I am that aggressive part as well, because I was willing to put it out. It's not so much if people are gonna see it, but you allow other people to see it. Like you're not hiding it anymore. You're saying this is how I feel inside, and now by me posting this, I'm showing this. This is of course like a very specific thing. It happened like 4 years ago, or 3 years ago. People who've been following me for a long time probably know this, who have also been friends with me on Facebook. I don't use Facebook right now at all for like my private page or anything, but it's of course just a very specific thing. But that doesn't change that it helped me so much, right? You can have very different ways of expressing that anger, but if you are not able to really express it towards a person, like somebody who has been hurting you for a long time, an end that you feel like you just can't stand up to, a parent that always makes you feel like you're not good enough, whatever it is, like really start looking at the songs that were like within you. For me, it was like, as I said, Eminem and Lil Kim. Like in my opinion, I'm not even completely sure about Eminem. I know some people say he is an ISFP, others say he is an ISTP, but let's assume he's like an ISTP and he has that SE in him, and Lil Kim, an ESTP. So these parts, I could actually imagine myself within that. That was a part of me that I was not letting out. Anger for me, I could connect to force. And it was like me putting out force, and it was hurtful and it was bad, and I needed to accept myself with that. Like if you don't do that, you'll never ever start integrating your SE, and you'll never really become that version of yourself who's gonna stand up and fight for your life and actually create something that can really uplift others and that can be really powerful and makes a difference. And it's all within us, and we just don't want to accept it because it feels like so wrong, when like the only thing we really want is peace and harmony. But in order to create that, we have to first tell people, you cannot express anger towards me, because when they do, it really gets into you, it stays with you, and it won't go out until you let it out. And the more often you do it, as I said, you just create an atmosphere where things like this don't happen anymore. People know not to cross your boundaries. They know where your boundaries are. Like, don't make people responsible for constantly hurting you, when in the end it's you who's being hurt. Like, I'm not talking about things that are obviously bad, like somebody hitting you. And there are just certain things that are really negative for some people to like receive, and for others it's no big deal. Like it's so specific. And if you don't really get to a point where you tell people this is something that hurts me, then they will never know. And it's not only for them to know, but for them to subliminally understand, so the next time they don't even go that way, because their mind has remembered, oh, this hurts, I'm not going to do this again. It's like a kid touching a stove. It burns itself once, it never touches that stove again. Same thing. So you want to let that out, listen to that music, get into a meditative state. And whatever it is, like for me, it was Eminem with The Way I Am. It was the lyrics, it was the beat, it was the intensity behind it. And I really felt like I was him at that moment. And I was feeling all these things I wanted to feel. So let's say I was thinking about like a friend of mine and I didn't like the way she made me feel, then I could still listen to The Way I Am, interpret my way of it, which had nothing to do with the song really. There were very specific like lyrics to him, but it still felt like the atmosphere, the mood, that was how I was feeling, or I could like really resemble that, because I didn't know how anger felt like. I didn't know how I should behave, how I should feel if I wanted to really live through that anger. And once this like kind of like really helps for us to realize, oh, okay, this is the thing I have to like get into. It's like listening to an instrument and a song and an instrument, and then playing it yourself. Like, it's not like most of us can do this, but there are people who are very gifted at musical instruments. They hear somebody play something on the piano and then they can play it on their guitar. And that's the same way. For us to really feel that anger, we have to like have something that we can read, interpret, and then live through ourselves. Like really get those emotions going. And so songs like this are very, very good. And then look for something that you can resonate with. Whatever it is. For me, it was mainly those two artists, or a lot of artists in that direction. And so once I started feeling that, I hated myself for a minute. It was very painful because I thought, who in the world would like me with these things? Like, this is so not attractive. This is so not beautiful. This is so, mean. We want people to like us, and people don't like mean people. They don't love mean people. They don't accept mean people. Mean people just go through life and they think, I don't need your acceptance. That's a different kind of way than us being like, I'm so good. I'm going to do everything I can to create a wonderful atmosphere. And then I hope you're going to accept me and going to love me. That's how I went through life. So once I did that, and it was very painful after I expressed all that anger, first through songs, but then I was also able to express it to people. And I was able to really make it a point, I'm not gonna have it. Once I did that, then I really felt the sadness underneath. Then it was like, okay, who's gonna love me now? Who's gonna accept me now? Because this is who I am. I have like this dark side inside of me. And that's pretty much us integrating really SE into our life more and more. So once we do that, we feel that pain and we go through it. Like, you'll be fine. You're not gonna die from this. And once you go through it, you say, okay, well, this is it. Like, you have to accept it. I talked about in one of the last videos, well, if people don't like this, then, what do you want me to do? That's who I am. And I'm not going to hide it anymore. Like, the real depression comes, the real shame comes when you leave it in. But when you put it outside and you say, like, I'm just gonna accept this. Like, you don't have to love this part of you right away. This will happen after a while because you feel that because of this anger, this fuel that you have now in your life, you're actually able to create such an amazing life, so much better than before when you were neglecting that, when you were suppressing that. So you're gonna start loving it at some point. But in the beginning, you have to really be okay with it, accept it, and then put it out. So, as I said, afterwards, all that sadness comes. If you want me to talk more about the sadness part, how I went through that and how I managed to get out, let me know in the comment section so I can get into it in one of the next videos. But, a lot of people been asking me about this. I think I mentioned it in one of the first videos I did in Bulgaria that, like my M&M face. So that's why I wanted to get into it. I hope that helped you, and I wish you, like always, a great week. I think of you. If you like the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, to subscribe, and to hit the bell so you never miss when one of my videos comes out. And if you're interested in coaching, hit me up. Just go to my page on Wenzes.com. You'll see it there. The first session is for free, and everybody that I've been working with has always been very happy about everything, and I see how it really helps. So that's why I'm so eager and like really pushy about it, because I know it helps. And as I said, first session is for free, so what is there to lose? Just give it a try, and I talk to you next time. Bye.